Any thoughts? Last time, yes, we discussed. Yes. Yes. Any thoughts? Whatever we discussed last time. Why there are three mindsets, three kind of a phenomenon that happens across different living beings that we see. Anybody would like to share some points? Yes, Renu. Yes. 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 What do you mean by sattva? Like we heard a lot of attributes of all these three modes of nature, right? Like, what are the attributes of sattva? What are the attributes of rajas? What are the attributes of tamas? Anybody would like to share? Like truthfulness, honesty. Yes. Yes, yes. No toxication. Yes. They're all the characteristics of. Yes, yes. What else? Prakasam, like enlightened. All the senses of the sattvic persons, all the senses are enlightened. So he develops a greater discrimination power. What is right and wrong? Because if there is a light, you can understand if there is a thief coming inside. But if it's a dark, thief can enter easily. So that's why the people who are in the mode of ignorance, they don't understand what is right and what is wrong. They are nidra, alasya, pramada. They are always in ignorance. They are always, in the pramada, in the intoxicated state. Hare Krishna. Okay. What are the yes? Yes, very good. The people who are like especially on the tamasic, they are always dependent on something or someone. Especially tamasic people, they want to be dependent on the drugs or smoking or this or that. Always dependent. But especially the Rajasic persons, they wanted to be the king, they want to be the ruler, they want to be the guide, they want to be independent, just like a lion we talked about. And sattvic person, they are more interdependent. They really work together, they work collaboratively. They live in a community. Very good. Thank you, Balabhadra Prabhu. Any other thoughts? So then we discussed that beyond these three modes, there is something called Suddha Sattva, right? Because we discussed that these three modes are also nothing but like three kinds of chains. What are the chains? Either it could be iron chain, silver chain, or golden chain, right? Golden handcuffed. But all these three modes bind us to this material world. They keep us in the material world, and as long as we are in the material world, we have we said pavarga. Do you remember what is pavarga? We said 5 things: pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. Whoever in this material world, even if you are in sattva guna, you have to go through these 5 things. You have to do hard work. You have to do parisram, and then while doing parisram, all the penas will come out. Your sweat and blood will come out. It's not going to be easy, parisram. Right? And then bandhan, the more we work and the more we get entangled, with so many things, right? And then, and at every point of time, there is a fear, there's a bhaya, fear of recession, fear of job, fear of, nowadays, they fear the spouse, if they will return home or not. Or ma is amrityu, nobody can escape out of it. So as long as we are in this material world, all of us go through it. And to come out of this pavarga, right? And that is apavarga. That is really, we said we have to achieve, what is it? A, B, C, D, E, Suddha Sattva. What is that A, B, C, D, E? Anybody can talk about it? What is that A, B, C, D, E? Association. You have to come in the sadhu sangha because you are what you associate with. So, like they say, right? Like, you can understand by understanding the 5 people who are around you, right? You are average of the 5 people who are around you, right? So it's up to us to choose the right association. Yes. And then books, yes, we should, really follow the scriptures, like this manual that is Lord has given to us, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the scriptures that Lord has given us to follow, to mold our life accordingly, to follow the right books. Then A, B, C. C is chanting of the holy name, because this is the easiest way and the surest way and this sweetest way to achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because Lord is not different than His holy name. Yes, whatever the activities people were doing earlier by meditation, by so elaborate deity worship or fire sacrifices, like you don't have to, because we don't have that much efficient energy, right? But just by chanting the holy name, we can really invoke the Lord's presence at that moment. And then D, diet, yes, prasadam. Who can really, we always say, Prabhu ke sakshat darshan. Like, we might not be able to realize Lord in any form, but we can really realize the Lord through His divine form as prasad. Like, yes, whatever we honor, we first offer it to the Lord, then we accept it. Because Lord is saying that, like if we just take it, for our own enjoyment, then we do sinful activities, right? And Lord tells us what He accepts, patram puspam phalam toyam. He doesn't say that, meat, fish, egg, or all other things, right? So Lord is saying, so we have to offer Lord what He is asking for, and then the remnants that we have to take it as a prasad, as a blessings of the Lord, right? And then, like, not only our body will be getting nourished, but also our mind also get nourished. Our brain cells gets nourished. We get sadbuddhi. Yes. And then what is E? We have to keep our environment as much sattvic as possible. We have to make our environment clean. We have to make our environment like, putting Lord in the center, right? We have to engage ourselves, in the service of the Lord. This is the ABCD, the basic, forms of our spirituality, to progress in our Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Any other points? We also discuss, what are the other ways we can really elevate our consciousness? Yes, we are what we eat, and then what we study, what we give. Yeah, what we give, how we give, right? We should give the charity to the right person at right place. Not that we should have a what party? Drinks party, free drinks party. No, I am doing charity, right? We talked about, yes. And then another important point we said, what else? What do we hear? Yes, yes, there is an effect, right, to the sound vibration that we are kind of encountering, right? Like, if it is, right, the rock and roll music or this acid rock, it has a different effect. We talked about that water, how it creates different effect in the water, right? And like how the classical, devotional music has its own effect in the water. And if we get acquainted ourselves, right, with the right positive sound vibration, then it really affects our body. Very good. Anything else?
In whose company we are?
Yes, in whose company we are. How we should, try to, like all of you are so wonderful. Like, you have chosen to come in the association of the devotees, right? At least once in a week, right? And we hear, from acharyas, from sadhus, right? What exactly they haven't given us, how we can really purify ourselves. And then we talked about.
We should have questions and intelligence like the monkey and the hat.
Yeah, that's capsular story. It's a beautiful Panchatantra story, but there is a lot of learning, So whatever we hear, how we can really think that what can I really learn, right? From even so-called ordinary story, which is an extraordinary lessons to it, right? And then we talked about even the different times of the day also. What time we should wake up? 9 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. What time? Why should we wake up early? Why? Because we should be convinced what we are doing, why we are doing. Yes. Yes, our biological rhythm, our body is meant in a certain way, right? We cannot just defy this bodily biological rhythm. And second important thing is that not only from the biological bodily perspective also, but also right from our sattvic qualities really gets developed, really gets enhanced, right? Once you wake up early in the morning and engage ourselves in a positive sattvic activities. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any other thoughts? I think it was a good recap. I know some of you had missed last time, I guess. So yes, any other thoughts? Okay. Yes, to wake up early, right? We need to sleep early, right? Yes. Very good. Thank you very much. So, and then, right, we also talked about this summary. Do you remember what we should avoid and what we should adopt? We should avoid, right? Like whenever, yes, there will be difficulties coming, and because we are in a place where there is at each point, there will be some impetus, there will be some obstacles, there will be some, trigger of fight, right? And at that point of time, we should not feel that, oh, nothing will happen to me, or I am so strong. I should not deny it, or I should not feel also that, oh, nothing will, nobody can save me now, right? Now the problem that has come to me, right? Now I'm going to be doomed, right? Yahi meri bhagya mein likha hai. No, right? At that point of time, we have to do the needful. We have to really accurately understand, not really overestimate the enemy or not overestimate our capacity, but we have to do the needful. And while doing the needful, we have to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Right? And we talked about this, and we said Krishna conscious is the way of life. Okay. So now we are talking about a very interesting topic today. Who is my boss? And because in today's world, everybody wants to be the master, boss, right? Once you think of a boss, what comes to your mind? What? Dictating deadlines, timelines, stretched goals. What else? Cruelty, worry. Nowadays you heard, right? Like one of the famous richest CEO is saying that you should work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right? Yes, that too in the prosperous developed country. Right? What else comes to your mind when you think of a boss? Yes. Yes, I am always right. Just do it. Right? Okay, that's how, what do you think? Yes, it's enough. Now let's be the boss. Right? Because because we get some controlling power, we get some influential power. One time, our founder Acharya Prabhupada, he had gone to Japan, he had gone to Tokyo, and he was sitting in this Thai Nippon printing press office, and he was meeting the editors and also the CEO of that printing press. And once the meeting was over, and then still, there was one gentleman was there, and when everybody left, that person was there, Prabhupada was there, and that person, he started introducing himself, oh Swami, oh saintly person, you see there are so many people said they are, visiting cards with you. Do you know? But at this point of time, I'm nothing or I'm no one, in this organization. But my goal, then he said, he put all the visiting cards. I want to be on top of them one day. And please bless me. I want to be the boss of all the visiting cards that was said with you today. Right? Everybody wants, right, to be the master. Because once that master shape, yes, you can control two things. What? You can control people and you can control things. Because you think that with that, like I'll be the controller, I have the enjoyer, I am the kind of proprietor, I can do anything. Mary Marji, I can do whatever I like. Right? Because today says nobody wants to be just a subordinate or just a kind of a servant of someone. Right? So, but can you just think in a contrasting way, what would you think would be the qualities of a good boss or a kind of or a best boss that you kind of perceive? What do you really like to see? Any attributes that comes to your mind? His guiding and sharing knowledge. Yeah, like he's himself self-controlled, and he can really guide, he can really show us the direction. Yes, role model. They have leadership quality. Yeah, like can you just elaborate a little more? What kind of the attributes you would really like to see? If you say that, oh, I'm walking under so and so, like clarity of thought, no confusion, no egoism. Yes, understanding means he should be knowledgeable. Yeah, so he can really navigate through all the problems because he's all powerful. He has a lot of strength, so he can motivate, because he's such a knowledgeable person, he is such an influential person, he can do that. Very good. Right? Like, wouldn't you really like to be work under like the most wealthiest person? It should be yes, right? Like, you would really like to work under like the most wealthiest person, like, instead of like, you would really like to work under the richest or the most successful startup entrepreneur, right? Recently, in the last week only, I guess, one person was saying, there was a guy called Sam. I would say there is a still guy called Sam Friedman. Any of you have heard Sam Friedman? Okay. Nobody is kind of following cryptocurrency for good. Like, yeah, last week there was a news on the FTX. There was a cryptocurrency platform, right? And the CEO or the entrepreneur of that one is called Sam Friedman, and he had a wealth of $26 billion. How much? We cannot even count how many zeros are there. Right, $26 billion, and in just one day, he lost everything, and he had only zero. This is the news of this last week only, right? It's the greatest wealth disaster, right? Yes, if you really like to work under somebody who is really wealthy, but we know that how this wealth also, whoever attains, whoever having that also is how it is temporary. Right? Yes, we would really like to work under somebody who's really strong, who can really help us in navigating through all the problems. Right? We would really like to, oh, I'm a friend of so and so, or my boss is so and so. He can really get it done, whatever you ask. Right? Earlier, there was this guy called, I don't know if you know, Muhammad Ali. Right? In this 60s Olympics, right? Like, he was the Olympic champion. Right? Wherever he was going and coming, they were saying, I am like a bee, I sting like a bee, I fly like a bird, I am the Muhammad Ali, the greatest, that's what kind of, his really anthem was going on. And I think just a couple of decades later, I think it was 1996, he was asked to light the torch in the 1996 Olympics, and he took 5 minutes to touch, right, like the lamp, because he was suffering for Parkinson's disease. He was not able to handle, the hold even the lamp properly. The so-called, the strongest, the wealthiest at that time said, yes, I'm not the greatest, but I'm the greatest fool, claiming to be the greatest. Right? Or even last week also there was this news of, I think, the Bruce Willis or somebody, right? Like, who was the, right? Like, yes, right? Like, now have the dementia and even, suffering from so much of problem, right? Or you talk about fame also, right? Like, how, right? Yes, you would really like to work on to somebody who's really famous, right? Or, right, you would like to associate or, associate with somebody who's so beautiful, isn't it? Or maybe like you would like to associate with so knowledgeable, he knows, he has a formula, for whatever the problem that we have, right? Wouldn't it be so nice to work under a boss, like, or to associate with a person like, who is this? Sakuntala Devi. Do you know her characteristics? Like, you used to, there was a computer, I think, like they gave around 13-digit number, I guess, right? 13-digit number multiplied with another 13-digit number, some random number. And the solution was a 26-digit number. And I think it is said that she gave the answer, I think, in just less than 1 minute, including the answer of 26-digit. Before your computer, even there was some discussion happening, and computer said, like, no, it is correct. No, it's not correct. It is wrong. But then, later on, the computer has to acknowledge that the computer was wrong. She was correct. She was so intelligent. Mataji sees also, right? So yes, she was so intelligent, but she was thinking that, okay, with my intelligence, I can do anything, I can win everything. I think then, I think somewhere in now, which is one part of Telangana, she contested an MP election. And do you know what was the result? She finished 9th in that election. Right? So what you're trying to say is that, yes, whatever we might have, right, how it is temporary, and then, we might have one thing, right? We might be knowledge, but, we might not have fame. We might have strength, but we might not be so beautiful. Or, another very important quality people talk about is the renunciation, right? That's why, like, Mahatma Gandhi was once asked, right? Like, what is the kind of, essence of life? How do you describe it? And I just said it in 3 words. And I said, renounce and enjoy. People say it's contradictory, but then he was really quoting from Upanishad. He was saying that, like, Isavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatam jargat tena tyaktena bhunjita magrud kasya siddhanam. Like, what he was trying to mean is that you renounce the material activities, the material objects, and then you enjoy with the supreme. And that's what he meant. Renounce and enjoy. Yes, he is known for renouncing, though he has such a big followers. But at the same time, you might not tell him that, okay, he was the most beautiful person or most handsome person, right? But is there any person who has all these qualities that we talked about? Is there anyone? And wouldn't it be so nice who would have all these 6? Huh? What do you think? Is there anyone who really possesses all this? Yes. Yes, right? He possesses all the beauty, right? All the knowledge, all the wealth, all strength, all fame, and also all renunciation, right? Apart from this, can anybody possess, right? Even a little bit of it? No, it's not possible, right? That's why in Bhagavad Gita, right, it's already talked about, like, there are places like Sanjay Uvacha, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Arjuna Uvacha, and when Krishna is saying, what he said? Bhagavan Uvacha. 28 times, and Bhagavad Gita it is written, Bhagavan Uvacha. What is the meaning of Bhagavan? Bhagavan. Like we say Balavan. What is the meaning of Balavan? Who possesses strength? We say Dayavan. What is the meaning of Dayavan? Who possesses merciful attitude, right? And Bhagavan means who possesses all the opulences, bhoga. Who possesses all the opulences, all the bhogas. And what are those opulences? Aishwaryasya samagrasya, viryasya yashasriya, jnana vairagyasya, sannam bhoga itingana, sannam bhoga. This is 6 opulence. Whoever possesses these 6 opulences, he is Bhagavan. And what are the 6 opulences? Aishwaryasa samagrasya. All this, all these opulences that we talked about, not little bit, in complete, in full, samagrasya. What is it? Virya, courageous, right? Yasa is always fame, right? Sriya. He's always beautiful. Jnana is full of knowledge and vairagya with all that, right? He's always in a complete renunciation. And anybody talk about how he is completely virya, how he possesses all the strength? Anybody? How Krishna possesses everything? Anybody can tell? One pastime? Yeah. Any pastime, any leela that you can think of? कृष्णा उनका बल दिखाए हैं, वीर्य दिखाए हैं, है ना? Yes, 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 yes. Govardhan, right? Like how, right? He just lifted Govardhan, right? Just like in a small baby elephant lifts a mushroom, right? Right, and that too also in left hand, this little finger. Right? Or we talked about how he danced on top of Kalia, right? A saint and a lady maybe will not be able to even dance on a sleeping surface, right? But not only it was sleeping the snake's food, but also it was moving. But at the time, Lord was not thinking on the anxiety. Oh, where should I put my hand? You're still smiling. Because if you are in anxiety, you'll be in so much stress. But Lord was not in the stress, right? He's so much having strength, right? And Yasa is all famous, right? Like yes, still after 5,000 years, everybody remembers and talks about, his words, his teachings, his life, and Sriya, all beautiful, and Gita, right? Wherever we go, people say that yes, this is the benchmark, this is the manual of life. And with all that, he is also completely renounced, right? Like, you see in Mahabharata, in Rajasuya Yajna, what was his role? Anybody knows? When Yudhishthira performed Rajasuya Yajna, what is like Bhima was, taking care of cooking, right? And Yudhishthira Maharaj, like, all they were taking care of our guests. But Lord Krishna, what was his seva? To wash the feet of all the guests. Right? And he was completely renounced. He was not attached to, like, or whenever he was winning any war, right? Or as a Lord Ram, like, he gave the kingdom to Vibhishan, or he gave it to Sugriva, all right? Or in Krishna Lila also, when Kamsa he gave it to Ugrasen, or in Jarasandha, he gave it to Jarasanda's son, right? He was not attached that, oh, I should really kind of get all the, kingdom and I should really enjoy. What he was to establish dharma, not to really enjoy for himself. And just in the war, you see that how he held for the charioteer roles. Yet, and Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita, this is a beautiful verse. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam srimat urjitam ebhava tat ibhava gacchotvam mamo tejam sambhavam. Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna, Lord Krishna spoke in this 10th chapter about his various opulences. And then at the end he said that whatever I spoke about, all my opulences, they are just mama teja amsa sambhava. They are just a spark of my splendor. Whatever the vibhuti, all the opulences that you see all over the universe, or the beauty that we see, right? Or that urjitam, the glories that we see all around, that's just then my splendor. Because I, like, why we love somebody? Because that person is having a part and parcel qualities of the Supreme Lord, right? How Lord is saying that, how, and now we are able to understand, here we are talking about Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and why he is called as a Bhagavan. So now, having understood that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is a Bhagavan who possesses all the 6 opulences, and whatever we see is all around is just a spark of it. Now, is Bhagavan is a person or is he energy? What do you think? So, how many of you say he is a person? Okay, one. How many of you say he is an energy? Okay, very good. Okay. So, uh, whenever we talk about energy, right? Whenever we're talking about Shakti, is Shakti coming out of, right, nowhere? Whenever there is Shakti, means there is source of energy. Whenever there is an energy, there is energetic. Whenever there is Shakti, there is Shaktiman. Whenever we talk about a bulb, there is a source of energy somewhere. Isn't it? Right? So there is nothing called just an energy without the existence of energetic. Right? So it is not that only energetic is there or only energy is there. Right? Both exist together. How it is? There's a very beautiful verse. Lord is mentioned in this Srimad Bhagavatam. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvasya jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabhyate. What is saying? Anybody can read? So a learned person knows the Supreme in three forms. What are the three forms? Right? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. It's not that, he's only Brahman, he's only light, he only is energy. No, or not that he is only Paramatma, he's situated in everybody's heart. But also, he's a Bhagavan, he's a Supreme Personality, he's a person. Right? Like our acharyas, they want to explain something, they always give a lot of analogies through which we can really understand, through our material understanding, right? So they give this example of sun, right? They talk about sun means, there is a sunlight, right? But sunlight has no existence without the sun, right? And we also see the potency of the sun, in every pot of water or any other place which has the power to reflect it. You are getting my point, right? Like a place might be completely in darkness, but like if you sew, right, with a maybe glass of mirror or something like that, you can reflect that sun into that hall and you can get that light, right? Yes, whatever we can, right? Like the light that we are getting it, there's a source, that's the sun. So we can perceive the sun in three ways, right? As a ray of sunlight, and we say also kind of the existence of the sun in whichever the potency, whichever the places where it can be reflected, right? And the sun glow, and then there is also a divine personality who really kind of presides. The sun, there's the sun god, right? Similarly, our acharya are saying that Brahmano hi pratisthana. Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita, right? From me, right, comes this effulgence, comes this energy, comes this light, right? From me it comes. It is not that Lord is only light, Lord is only energy. No, from him it comes. Is it clear? And similarly, Lord also is there in each and every particle, and Lord is there in each and every living entity. And also he is there in his beautiful form, as a Satchidananda Vigraha. Right? Lord Brahma, he is worshipping Krishna in this beautiful prayer called Sri Brahma Samhita. Please repeat after me. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. What Brahma is saying? Ishvara, Parama Krishna. He is a Parameshwara. Who is a Parameshwara? He is a Krishna. He is a Supreme Lord. And now who is he? He is just only, some light or some, always there in the Paramatma form. No, he has a beautiful form. That form is called Satchid Ananda form. He is full of eternity, full of bliss, and full of knowledge. Like sometimes it's very difficult for us to understand because we are charma chakshus, we are kind of bound by this pancha bhuta, right? This earth, water, fire, mucus, bile, all this air, right? It's very difficult to understand, right? Like some point of time, I think the kids, they used to play with the Barbie dolls, like the plastic Barbie dolls, right? And inside there used to be chocolates, right? Kids, they used to buy, right? Like, and then later point of time, just to keep the boys also happy, they had also developed this He-Man chocolates, right? The chocolate only of like the man toys, right? With only chocolate. Huh? So, like, we can extend it, right, to our understanding. Like this Barbie doll, with a plastic doll with chocolate inside, is like in a soul and this body, right? Like inside that plastic doll, there are chocolates. Within us, like we are the soul, but we are covered with the plastic, the dresses. But the He-Man, which is only chocolate, right? There is no plastic. It's only chocolate. That is the Supreme Lord. So for Supreme Lord, there is no Panchabhuta, right? He's only Satchidananda. He's only full of bliss, full of knowledge, full of eternity, because whatever we have is there for some point of time only. But Lord's form, right? He's always blissful. He's always blissful. And that's why, it is described once again in Brahma Samhita. Venum kvanantam aravinda dalaya taksam paravatam masitam buddha sundarangam kandarpa koti kamani abhishesa sobham govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Brahma is praying to Lord Krishna. Oh, you are always holding this beautiful flute. You are like this Ghanshyam Rupa. Right? And you are always so beautiful that even the Kandarpa, even the cupid, is also gets enamored, right? He's so beautiful. That's what kind of Brahma is praying. So now another question we might ask. Like, once you really keep the Lord, right, in a personal form, are you limiting the Lord's energy, Lord's right power, by kind of putting him in a form or right as a personality? What do you think? Right? You are getting my question? Like somebody, Bhagwan ko aap ऐसी मूर्ति की तरफ रखते हो, right? So Bhagwan to he's so powerful. How you are limiting himself only to this form? All right? How do you answer them? Okay, very good. Like, yes, you have Lord is there as a representation, right? For me, like in this form, appearing as Archa Vigraha, as a bona fide form through which I can reciprocate with the Lord. Very good, Manalisa. Yes. Anybody else? How do you answer them?
I think the question is wrong. First of all, you're not actually to put God inside something. You can invoke and prayer.
At the same time, like, once you go in front of the deity, right? We say that deity and the Lord, they are not different. Deity and Lord, they are not different. Once you offer something to the deity, the Lord accepts it, right? Then how do you really say them that, like, how do you want to limit the Lord into just this deity only? Somebody might ask this. Yes. 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 Visualize. Okay. It's a medium. Very good. Very good. Right. Like once again, like our Rajas gives very beautiful analogies. Like, I say that, okay, like we have just like a candle, right? Candle is a small object, right? But with that flame, it really illuminates the whole room, right? Even the sun, right? With the light, it really illuminates the whole universe, right? Or in other way also, right? Like there is a building, right? It has a form, but if you blast it, right? Will it really become unlimited? No, right? It will still have some form, right? Another way, right? The Lord, even in this so-called limited form through which we can really reciprocate, Lord can have unlimited energies. Lord can have unlimited energies that, is beyond our inconceivable potency. Right? One time, one devotee asked, Srila Prabhupada, and like, why don't we have this, Virat Rupa of the Lord, to worship, right? In Bhagavad Gita, Lord talks about Virat Rupa, the universal form of the Lord. Sahasra, like, like thousands of heads, thousands of hands, thousands of, right, mouth, right? Why don't we have? Then only people will understand, oh, Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Do you know what Prabhupada replied? Do you have the cloth to dress the Vishwarupa deity? Can you offer him the food to offer it to Vishwarupa? No, like, just to reciprocate, our feelings. He has really appeared, as the Syam Sundar form, or as Jagannath form, through which we can dress them deities nicely. We can really offer the, bhoga nicely. Right? Lord is so merciful. He is really accepted, with his mercy, a form. Right? But of course, it's not that, he can, you can just take any stone or any, tree. No, he has given also, what exactly is a proper archa vigraha, right? Like, especially in some places in South India, there are some, this, what do you call the sculptors? They know that, okay, this is the kind of a salagram sila, this is sila, or there is a kind of different insects, how they really, there are some lot of technical details are there through which they really carve the deity. And the deity really gets self-manifested out of them, right? It's not just, we can really take anything. Like earlier, Prabhupada was giving this example, right? Like, of course, nowadays, some people might not be able to relate. Like, this post box, you cannot, put the letter in any, post box. You have to, which is really bona fide, which is really, given by the government. We go to that post box and then you put it there. Similarly, we cannot worship, any object as the Supreme Lord. Right, which has been really done, as somebody said, prana pratishtha, which has been really invoked by the Lord. There you go and really offer your worship to the Lord. Okay, so now another very important question, right? Everybody asks, okay, what do you say on this one? If Krishna is one God, right? If you say Krishna is God, but who are the devatas? Right? Who are the devatas? They are the other forms. Okay. Okay. Good. Or Tushar Prabhu is saying that, okay, there are different ways, right, to really support. What else? Very good. Like, as a family, right? There is a head of the family and there are different members of the family. Very good. There's a hierarchy. Very good. Very good. Yes, exactly. Different forms. Lord is saying that in Bhagavad Gita. Once again, like, whatever we want to share, right? It's not through our mental concoction or speculation. We want to present something, right? We always quote Shastra. We always quote scriptures. Remember, on that day we talked about, whatever we want to prove something, you have to say Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, right? We have to refer. Right? Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwara Surudam Sarva Bhutanam Yatva Mam Santim Rachati. Anybody can read? Like Prabhupada used to call this as a peace formula. What is that? Anybody can read loudly?
A person is full of consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and auspicities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the perfect benefactor and the well-wisher of living entities, 18 peace from the pans of material things.
Yeah. So what Lord is saying, in Bhagavad Gita, that whoever understands me as the Bhaktaram Yajnatabasam, I am the proprietor, I am the enjoyer of all the sacrifices people are doing. And not only that, I am Sarva Loka Maheshwara. Yes, I am the really, Maheshwara. I am the controller of all the planets and all the devatas. At the same time, I am Suhrudam Sarva Bhutanam, well-wisher friend of every living entities. Whoever knows this, he is always at peace. Right? How do you understand it further? And as our Prabhuji said very beautifully, yes, we can really relate it to a organizational hierarchy, right? Like there is an CEO, right? Like, Like in our organization, the CEO really defines, right? Of course, along with the leadership, right? Like, the goals, missions, and the strategy of the organization, and then the different departments, right? Like, their sales or marketing or technology, right? CTO, right? They really execute those plans, right? In alignment with the mission and strategy or the objective of the CEO or the president of the organization, right? Or if you just relate it to like country, right? Like, yes, we are governed by government, but the government, also as a head of the government, as a prime minister or the president, right? He really runs the government, right? This like 1.4 billion people, or billions of people, through some rules and policies and some regulations, right? Through the home minister, through defense minister, through finance minister, and so on, power minister, right? Similarly, right, in the whole, right, universal structure as well, right? There is a head of this universe, right? And then there are some positions are there, like an energy minister, power minister, defense minister, and so on. And there are some persons who are having that service, like this Indra, like that, like different persons at different yugas, and they occupy that post, right? Even this Vivaswan is also a post, right? At this point of Surya Dev, he's really presiding that, right? So there is a post and there is a person who is really doing that seva. Is it okay? Are you able to understand so far? That how it is not that all are equal, right? At the same time, we cannot also neglect or disrespect, right? Can we say that, oh, I only respect the prime minister and I don't respect the finance minister? I really kind of condemn him. No, right? I am respecting, right, even finance minister, because he is really taking care of the duties of the prime minister so perfectly, right? It's no point of time we disrespect, right, the subordinates of the government, even if you could be just a simple police, because whenever like the head of the government comes, right, the president of the United States comes, like their finance secretary or the home secretary comes, and they also get so much of respect, right? Whenever they go to other countries, they represent that country, right? Similarly, right, we also do respect, right, all the devatas who are representing the different departments of the Supreme Lord. Is it clear, or we have any questions so far? So now, having understood so many aspects about the God, let's try to understand how the people approach the Lord. How do the people approach the Lord? Some people they approach, right? Or we can always take this example of a home, right? How a child approaches the parent, or he or she has to study, right? Oh, he will think that, oh, if I don't study, Papa will beat me or Mummy will beat me, right? Or another sincere student could be there. Oh, right? I have to study, right? If I study, I will get chocolate. If I study nicely, if I will get good marks, I will get a good cycle, right? Or another student could be there. Another children could be there. Oh, no, Papa and Mummy, they are doing so much for me. They are doing so much selfless sacrifice, right, for the home. Yes, they have told me to study. Let me do, as a kind of my duty, as a gratitude to my parents, right? And another student could be there. Other children could be there. No, I love study because there's so much to learn. There is so much to really, learn and grow. Right? You're able to see. We talked about 4 different motivations for a person, or like in a company also, right? Yes, I work so that I don't get fired from the job, right? Oh, I work so that I can get a fat check as a bonus, right? Or right, like I work because already I'm getting a good salary, I'm getting good facility. Okay, right? Let me do something, like for the company. Right? And then somebody said, oh, I really love coding. I really, passionate about this project, right? And he's doing that work, right? You're able to understand? So similarly, also in this path of spirituality as well, right? There are these 4 motivations. What are those? The first one is in fear, in bhaya, you know. इस दिन हम मंदिर नहीं जाएंगे तो हमको साप पड़ेगा. Right? We'll get ruined if you don't break coconut on this day, in this temple. Right? Or somebody, okay, ये हम मन्नत कर रहे हैं कि ये नारियल हमको फोड़ने का है क्योंकि हमारा 1 लाख का ज्यादा प्रमोशन होना चाहिए, और we get a bigger house or a bigger car. Right? Or somebody says that, oh, Lord is giving so much to me, can I not do this much for the Lord? Right? Yes, we go to a restaurant, right, and then we teach our children, oh beta, you have to tell the waiter, right, thank you uncle, or but then who was giving us everything, the air, light, water, and all the beautiful things all around, shouldn't we say thank you to the Lord also? Right? And then somebody might say, oh, Lord is so attractive, so beautiful, he's having all the opulences, how can I really love him more and more? Right? You are able to follow, right? What are the different motivations, different desires, different ways people approach the Lord, right? So how we can really elevate our understanding? Which children, right, like you feel right now he will really prosper and success, right? Who is always fearful, or who always kind of looking for that carrot, or you think that who is always looking for that, okay, just padhne ka hai to chalo padh lete hain, right? Or do you think that who really loves to study, who really do you think that who can really grow nicely, who really be successful, who is really the end of the pinnacle of the success, is love. That you really like, you have really look forward to it, right? It's even the same, right? And in our circle also, right? Oh, Prabhuji bole hain to ye chanting karne ka hai, right? Oh, chanting nahi karenge to ye ho jayega, right? But somebody, no, I love to chant, not that I have to chant. Nahi, Prabhuji bole hain ek round chanting karne ka hai mere ko, right? हाँ, राइट. ओ कितना बार इतना बार प्रभु जी कौन चैंटिंग करेगा, कितना चैंटिंग करेंगे हम, राइट, राइट. ओ प्रभु जी देखने के लिए वो फोन पे पूछ भी रहे थे चैंटिंग किए कि नहीं करके. चलो चैंटिंग कर लेते हैं, और प्रभु जी नहीं आते तो एक प्रोग्राम, एक क्लास नहीं आते तो प्रभु पूछ लेते हैं कल क्यों नहीं आए, लास्ट वीकेंड क्यों नहीं आए. और ठीक है अच्छा प्रसाद दे रहे तो चलो जाके सुन लेते हैं. Right? Like, but the kind of all of you are really kind of looking forward to it, like because you love to come in the association of the devotees, you love to hear Bhagavad Gita, right? You see that how we can really see this everywhere, right? So now understanding this, now the next question we might ask. Can anyone and everyone become God? What do you say? Why? Why we cannot become God? How many of you say we can become God? Okay, very good. We can become God. We should become God. Okay, very good. How many of you believe that we cannot become God? Okay, now tell me, because still we have majority, why we cannot become God. Tell me why we cannot become a God. Very good. Yeah. Yes. What else? Yes. We talked about it. Right? All the opulences. Can anybody and a tiny jiva have this? Is it possible to have all this? It's not possible. Right? Like that's why the example of is given, right? A ray of sun and the sun. Right? It given the example a drop of the ocean and the ocean. Right? And the drop of the ocean cannot become ocean. Right? And that's why now Srila Prabhupada has told very clearly, all our, Bhagavad Gita it is said very clearly, Mama Ivamsa Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita, what is saying? Mama Ivamsa Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. All the living entities are my eternal, not for this time being, eternal part and parcel of me. They are always, right? Because Lord is saying that Nainam Chindanti Sastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavaka. Like this soul cannot be cut, or they cannot be really just clubbed together and it can become something else. It always remains that individuality. It remains the individuality. Always there is a soul and there is a super soul. There is a Jiva and there is a Jagadisa. The Supreme Lord is the controller of the universe. That's why you call, the individual soul or the Jiva is forever, eternally a servant of the super soul, a servant of the Jagadisa. Jivera Swarupa Hoye Krishnara Nitya Das. Can anybody repeat again? Jivera Swarupa Hoye Krishnara Nitya Das. Yes, all the living entities are eternally the part and parcel of the Lord, eternally servant of the Lord. And yes, right? And we have to reawaken that relationship, right? Through this process of bhakti. We remember we talked about Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana, right? And Abhideya is this process of bhakti to reawaken that relationship. And then it really, right, pinnacles with that love of Godhead, with that prema. And that prema, right, can manifest in different rasas. And what are those different rasas? It's called Santa Rasa, Sakhya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Madhurya Rasa, right? Different associates of the Lord, they reciprocate with the Lord, right? As a friend, as a servant, and as a parent, and as a conjugal lover. That's where they really connect with the Supreme Lord, right? So, Srila Prabhupada also used to say very nicely, don't try to become God. You can become greater than God by becoming the parent of God. Because you know how Yasoda might tied Krishna, right? How Yasoda might tied Krishna. So Yasoda may become bigger than Krishna, right? Because through the rasa, because they in that same rasa, but still they want to love Krishna, they want to serve Krishna. Right? So our Acharya is saying that we cannot become God, but we can become godly. We can become godly. We can have the divine characteristics, all the divine potencies can manifest. At this point of time, they are covered. All our divine potencies, they are covered. But all this divine potency can get uncovered. Is it clear? Because this is the kind of frequently asked questions. And we should be very clear, because once we are kind of going through the Gita course means this is the basics of our spirituality. And as we say that, whatever we are trying to say, it has to be established on these principles of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Any questions or comments so far?
One question. I have one question.
Yes, bro, just one.
As you said, right, there are jivas which cannot be broken basically. We see the population increasing, some animals reducing basically. Are these number of jivas fixed, or basically it is Krishna who is producing these jivas? How does this work?
Very good. Yes, very good question asked by our Tushar Pro. He's saying that the population of this universe is increasing. Now somebody said like 8 billion of this earth planet, right? We have reached now 8 billion, right? The population is increasing, but you are saying that Nainam Chindanti Sastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavaka, Nechenam Kledayanti Apo Nasasayanti Maruta, like how? They are increasing then. Anybody can answer? Because now all of you are spiritual scientists. What do you say? What do you say? Anybody can answer it? What do you say? You have already received some kind of an answer already in our previous sessions. Very good. This life is not, all in all, right? We have previous lifetimes earlier, and we have a lot of future bodies. And we talked about, how, right, like a jiva can really get transformed into the various species. Right? Like, yes, somebody might be maybe in an animal consciousness, right? And now in the next birth, you will get a kind of a human birth. Human birth is like a junction. Yeah, 8.4 millions of sources or 84 lakhs. Just like, in an university, right? Like now we have really lowered maybe the entrance, exam for that university. A lot of people are coming to the university, right? But the exit from that university, right, having the same standard. Right? Then the university's strength will go on increasing. You are able to follow? Huh? The strength of the university is going on increasing, because to get from this human birth to next higher species, you need to have some sukruti. Right? But you are not able to do the sukruti. Okay, you are just so. You are just remaining in that university. We are just increasing the count in that hospital, because nobody is going out of the hospital, because a lot of patients are coming. Right? Huh? Yes. It's because this planet is not all in all. There are so many other planets are there. Yes, that's also true. Huh? Does that answer your question true? Yes. But that the evolution happens. But yeah, exactly, right? But this is human life is like a junction, right? Through which you given an opportunity to go to the higher, spaces, higher consciousness. Yes.
We have been hearing this. Brahma decides that we can explore this. How does that tie with
Yes. Yes. Very good question. Yes. So there is this difference of Brahman and Param Brahman. Brahma means yes, it is really the once again the part and parcel of the Lord. It has having the same qualities of Satchidananda. It has the same qualities of Satchidananda. It has the same qualities. And at this point of time, we are not able to understand, because we are identifying ourselves with this body. We think that we are this body. We think that, yes, I have to take care of this, my beautiful body, my beautiful tongue, my eyes or ears, right? We are identifying ourselves with the body. But Aham Brahmasmi means I have to realize that I am the soul. I am the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. That is the true self-realization. That is the true understanding of Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I am the part and parcel of the Super Brahman or Param Brahman. Okay, any other questions? Yes. Yes, anybody can tell what are the 6 opulences? Knowledge, renunciation. Very good. Very good. Can you check my Prabhuji? Okay, any other questions? Yes, Sudhir. Yes, in Bhagavad Gita it is said that Abrahma bhavana loka prabhanavarti punaravarti Arjuna. Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita in 8th chapter. Brahma bhuvana loka punaravarti Arjuna. From the planet of Brahma loka to there are the lower planets are called Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatal, Patal. There are 7 lower planets are there. All the people, all the living entities, they go through the cycle. Brahma bhuvana loka punaravartina Arjuna. Mamupetya kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. But whoever comes to me, they don't come back again. They come to me. Yes. Any other questions or comments? Anything else? Any questions? Because on this topic we always have a lot of doubts. I would really like all of you guys to really at least try to understand, right? Because last session was more of a practical session. This is a little bit more philosophical session. But yes, Lord is saying that Janma karma chame devam evam yo vedi tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti sarjuna. Those whoever understand me in tattva, right, in absolute truth, they will really come to me, right? We should have our tattva, our philosophical understanding very clear, right? Otherwise, yatama tatapat, like, whatever somebody says, we just accept it. We should not be happen, right? We should have a good understanding, right? What are the basic pillars, right, of our Sanatan Dharma? What are the basic pillars of Bhagavad Gita? Okay, so I think maybe we can just go ahead and just have one more small quiz, right? Once again, we can ask the same questions. We'll see whoever. Yes, okay. Our SN Ganguly Pro wants to say something.
Yes, different level of skills.
Yes.
Just a very small thing, property.
Yes.
One in some order.
Yes.
Now, God resides in every one of us.
Yes.
So why can't the inner consciousness stop for doing the thing?
Yes, very good. Right. Hare Krishna. So let's welcome our His Grace Harikatra Prabhu by loudly chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Thank you. So we are very fortunate to have His Grace Harikatra Prabhu with us. He is a center leader for our ISKCON Whitefield, of which, right, there are so many other sub-centers are there, like in Balandur, Penatur, Sarjapur, Kannamangala, Kadagudi, and Channasandra, Disware, Kagadaspura, and he's really leading all the centers. And and not only that, Prabhuji is very scholarly. He's really, from an educational perspective also, he's like gold medalist. He's having patent in his name. He was working so, brilliantly, but then he left everything, for propagating this message of Bhagavad Gita, right? And he's holding very senior positions. Basically, one of his very core interest is to really spread this Bhagavad Gita in the youth, right? That's why he's really the leader for spreading this message of Bhagavad Gita in all of the South India, right? And he really takes a lot of, right, energy, right, in, encouraging and counseling a lot of families to practice this message of Bhagavad Gita in this contemporary world, right? And under his leadership, like, just over a couple of years, this ISKCON Whitefield has grown so big, and we will see a glimpse of that on next Sunday, when all of us will get an opportunity to meet together, our broader family, of course, who are aligned to this ISKCON Whitefield, which is really in ACS layout. We would request all of you to see, who are our broader family members and get that opportunity. Right. And yes, we conduct a lot of Janmashtami programs. So many things are happening under his, sincere leadership. So many brahmacharis are really coming into our movement. And he has a lot of, like enthusiasm, right, to preach. So that's why he was not feeling well, right? He's like he had gone for a yatra to Pandharpur, taking hundreds of boys, right, to share the glories of our motherland. Right, and then he came yesterday, but still his throat is not, cooperating. But he said that, okay, at least I will come and share my association with all of you. So I would request, to share some thoughts with us.
उमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for taking this message of Bhagavad Gita very seriously and coming for this program regularly every week. So today's topic, Prabhuji would have introduced to us that how there are different ways of understanding the Lord, and if the Lord is whether he is a person or an impersonal light, and how Krishna being the supreme personality of Godhead. So it is this message of Bhagavad Gita, if you see, it's a very, very important message. So without the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, people of this world are actually suffering by the covering of illusion. And this knowledge is very, very important aspect. So we see that somebody is very hungry, not having sufficient things to he's very, very poor. So then if you provide him a little bit of food, so that will solve his problem for some time, till the next time he gets the hunger. And if you provide him with little bit money and things like that, it will solve the problem for maybe a day or two or a month, to the quantum of money that you have given him. But if for somebody, if we give knowledge, that can solve the problems of his life forever, So many of our acharyas, many of the sadhus we have seen, they have voluntarily been in the poor condition, but then we know that they are the most happiest people of the entire creation. So we see why they don't have anything, all the luxuries and things like that, how they can be happy. So they are happy because of possessing this knowledge. And that is why Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita. So this knowledge, practice of this knowledge, anybody practices this, Krishna mentions, he becomes very, very dear to me. And on top of it, anybody who distributes this knowledge, they becomes even more dear to the Lord. So I'm very, thankful to this Sudhir Gopal Prabhu. He is a very nice professional working in the corporate, and has a family, 2 kids, and you all know how much of things are there to take care of in the office front, in the family front, and things like that. But still they take time out, to give this knowledge to others. We should be very, very grateful. When Krishna says such people are very dear to me, so then how much we should be grateful to them. So it is possible, this message of Gita is possible to be spread everywhere because of sacrifice of devotees. So devotees take time out, and then they try to teach people, and they try to give time to solve their problems and things like that. So that is how we are able to spread this message of Bhagavad Gita to everyone, right? So, and also I thank all of you also for taking interest in this particular subject. So Krishna mentions that Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschit Yatati Siddhaye. So there are many people are there in this world, but why they are not interested in the subject of Gita? So because Krishna says, it requires a lot of fortune, lot of good fortune to even have inquisitiveness, to even have a little bit of means desire to understand the Lord, desire to understand Bhagavad Gita. So even a person who has a desire in this direction, he is considered to be very, very fortunate. And Krishna says, these people are very dear to me. They are very, very special. So all of you are also very, very special. I am very happy to be amidst you and to address few words in your presence. So and one of the things that you would be hearing in every session of Gita course is that about the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So in this yuga, the primary methodology of practicing of bhakti is by the way of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And we trying to study the Bhagavad Gita, and it is mentioned, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Na Bhavet Grahyam Indriya. So we will not be able to access the holy name of the Lord or the subject matter, that the description of the Lord, like Gita, no, and any of the aspects of the Lord, we will not be able to understand by our intellectual methodology. So we have been studying various things right from our childhood. So it is all about our intellectual capacity, how much we are able to grasp, understand. So that much, we can actually master that particular subject. But Bhagavad Gita is not a subject like that. So we cannot understand by our own intellectual capacity. So Sevan Mukehi Jivado, Swayameva Spuratyada. We should render service to the Lord, and to the degree we are rendering service and to the degree the Lord is pleased with us, Swayameva Spuratyada. The Lord will reveal this knowledge to us. So this Bhagavad Gita, we can understand properly when we render service to the Lord, and the primary service that we should render to the Lord is the chanting of the names of the Lord. So when we are able to chant the names of the Lord nicely, like some of you may be chanting 2 rounds, 4 rounds, like that. So our Acharya has recommended that, if we can chant 16 rounds, of Hare Krishna mantra, so that is very nice. So gradually, like different devotees, they try to, gradually progress this particular ladder. And when we are able to chant nicely, then the subject matter of Gita becomes very easy for us to understand, because Krishna becomes pleased and he personally reveals this knowledge to us. So then why are we trying to sit and hear? We can just anticipate the day when Krishna will reveal the knowledge to us. No, even our endeavor to hear, endeavor to study is also in the mood of service. It is a service to the Lord. I am trying to understand Gita. It's a service to the Lord. I am trying to study Gita. It's a service to the Lord. I am trying to honor Prasadam. It's a service to the Lord that I am trying to chant. And if the Lord becomes pleased with this service, he will give us, award us the knowledge. So what is mentioned in Gita will become practical to us, and we will be able to access that knowledge. So when we are in the mood of service, so when we try to serve the Lord by the way of chanting the names of the Lord, right? So all of you are chanting, right, regularly, right? So how many of you chant minimum 1 round? Okay. So 2, minimum 2, means 2 and above. Okay. And 4 and above? Okay, 1, 2. Okay. And maybe 8 and above? Okay, nice. So devotees can try to increase the number of rounds, right? So it is very, very divine experience, very nice experience actually. So when we chant the names of the Lord and try to hear the names of the Lord when we are chanting, it's so very nice, so very soothing, and divine experience actually. So more and more you chant, more and more you'll be able to understand the subject of Gita also nicely, right? So with this, I pause my small talk here. Thank you, Gopal. I'll definitely come another day and address a whole session here. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Let's thank Prabhuji once again by loudly chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And just in front of Prabhuji, would really like to announce our next week program. That this is what it is, right? It's called Prem Milan. This is a gathering of all the devotees who are aligned to our ISKCON Whitefield. So this will be there in a ground, in a ECS A block ground. This program will start at 10:30 with a nice kirtan, right? We'll have also small skit and some dance program as well. And then, right, like he's really a famous YouTuber, right, from Delhi. You might have heard some of him. How many of you know him? At least heard once? Okay.
Or seen in the YouTube.
Or seen in the YouTube. Some of you have heard, right? At least you can YouTube just his name, Amog Lila Prabhu. He's everywhere with millions of followers, billions of views, right? Everybody talks about him. He's from Delhi and he's a strong youth preacher, very good, question answer. Like, we'll have a good time for question answer with him as well. So I would request all of you, right, to register, right? Of course, it's a free registration, nothing, but to organize the logistics better to Prasadam and all. we need some details. So we'll be sending you this link, right? We'll be sending it today. So the earlier the better, if all of you can register. And also, yes, you can also share it with your friends so that they should also register it and they can also join this program. Like whoever attending once or twice, definitely we can really encourage them as well, right, to attend this program. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Ram. Right. Right. Yes. Our SN Ganguly Prabhu, he was asking, right, about that somebody is Hira Chor, somebody is Hira Chor, right? Kir Chor, and somebody is stealing cucumber and somebody is stealing diamond. But why that propensity is coming? Like there could be two friends who would be walking and next to a bar, right? One person you would be completely oblivious, right? Another person, right, who would be strong desire, strong impetus, right? Just thoda sa andar jaake thoda sa ek pick maar ke aa jane. Why that comes? Why it is? Anybody? All of you can answer it. Yes. Because you have been conditioned with that tamasic, culture. Because we have fed ourselves. We are what we eat. Like the kind of choice that we have taken so far in our life, right, has really conditioned to act in a certain way. Yes, because we are habituated to get that temporary happiness, temporary pleasure. We are prioritizing our pleasure than the purpose, right? Because we are ignorant of the purpose. We don't have that sufficient determination to follow that, because we have been cultivated in a certain way. We have been conditioned in a certain way, right? But Lord is saying that once again, it doesn't matter wherever you are coming from, but now you have a chance. Right? Isn't that like the person who is really accompanying, right? Doesn't he have a choice? He has a choice, but he has to exercise that choice, right? And once you take the choice, it will become stronger. Next time you kind of do that, follow that choice, it will become more stronger. But if you think that no, aaj kar leta hu, right? No, I can, like people what they say, no, smoking, no, I can give up any day, but I don't want to give up. Right? मैं मन के राजा हूँ. What they say? You have heard this? मैं मन का राजा हूँ. But they don't understand. They are the servant of the mind. They are the servant of the mind when they are saying so. Right? Because they become the servant, because they don't have the discrimination power. They are not in that sattvic understanding. Their senses are not enlightened. They are not able to understand what is right and wrong. That's what we see when the doctors, they smoke. Why? Don't they know that smoking is injurious to health? It creates the cancer and or whatever all the diseases. Why do they take it? Chalo yaar, thoda sa enjoy kar lete, enjoy madi. Right? Yes.
It also due to the lack of right knowledge.
Yes, it's a lack of discrimination. And how do you get discrimination? By following the right scriptures. And and then once you understand what is right and wrong, then you should do what is right. And how should you do it right? You should get sufficient determination. You should get sufficient strength. And how do you get strength? By following, right, this ABCDE. The more we follow ABCD, the more strength we will get to do the right thing. That's why we are saying, right, it is applicable for everybody. As a student, to get more determination. As a professional, right, to kind of do the right thing. Or as a family member, whatever it is, whoever we are, right, we'll get the right knowledge. That's why Lord is saying, Tesam satatam yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. I will give the intelligence through which you will come to me. But you have to listen. Now what you are doing? We have turned our face away from the Lord. Okay, aap thoda ruko. Main apna kaam karke aata hu. Right? Lord is saying, you just turn your face towards me. Then I'll give you the intelligence. I'm giving the intelligence, but we are ignoring it at this point of time. Does it answer Prabhuji? Hare Krishna. So, yes, I think we talked about our schedule of our Gita courses. So we have some exciting events coming up over the next couple of weeks. So we have kind of completed our 9 sessions, but we have some special session next weekend with Amog Lila Prabhu. Then on this 3rd and 4th, we have this Gita Jayanti coming up, right? We'll be sharing the details with all of you, where we'll be reciting some of the chapters from Bhagavad Gita, which is so auspicious, so pious, right? And also try to understand some lessons, some another beautiful lessons that we have not covered so far, some very practical lessons that we can really understand, and on this weekend, right? And then these 2 sessions that we talked about, RQ, recall, release, resolve. So we can try to reflect whatever we have heard so far, right? In these 2 sessions, like it is summary, right? So somehow or other, if we have missed a couple of sessions, it is a good time to revise those concepts and to refresh, recall, right? Those concepts that we have heard so far. So it's a kind of a revision, right? Like crash course, right? Into weekends that we have, but it's not we are sharing, it's all of you are sharing, but of course the devotees will be there to help you. And then we'll have some, right, some wonderful sessions that as we get closer, right, towards our year end, right, we'll have some Kirtanam, we'll have some, right, other events that we are planning. And on this January 7th, 8th weekend, mostly on Saturday, we're planning for a one-day retreat, right? One-day party, right? A spiritual party. That's our plan, right? So yes, some of you have already given the names, right? Last weekend, and still I think 50% still covered and 50% yet to be done. So please share your names after the program. And Prabhuji, can we share the bead badge with everybody? So in the meantime, maybe we can have anybody else would really like to share their names, and we can put that here. Or maybe you can send it offline, online. We can put it otherwise, right? You can send a message as well. Okay. Any other questions about the schedule, about the programs, or any other comments? Yes, ma'am. We'll send it. Yes, ma'am. We'll send it. Okay. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Any other reflection from today? Anything that you learned today? Yeah. So we're kind of thinking that we'll have a Q&A session. So whatever the questions that comes to your mind, you can ask. So we'll have many more guest speakers. That's what we're thinking. We're also thinking we can have a special seminar as well. So because that 25th of December, right? Like that December last week, some of the companies they have shut down also. I don't know. We want to also understand how many of you will be there, or how many have already planned your vacations during that time. So depending on that, we want to plan something. So how many of you are there during the last weekend, 25th? How many of you are available? You are available on 25th of December. Oh, I see it's a good attendance. Okay, 25th December. Okay, you're there. And on 1st of January, we can have some grand Kirtan program. You'll be available? Huh? Okay, very good. Very good. Okay. So then we can really plan nicely, because we're kind of thinking that who are here or not, but all of you are here, then we'll plan something wonderful. Okay. Harisam, you can lead. Okay, so as requested by Harikhetra Prabhu, I would request all of you. He said a very beautiful point, that yes, not through our intellectual understanding, right? We can really understand this knowledge. It's only through the Lord's grace. Sevan mukhe hi jivado swayam iva spuratiyada. Only through Lord's mercy, He will reveal, right, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. He will give us the understanding. He will give us the strength to understand it. And how do you get the strength? By invoking the Lord's blessing through the chanting of the holy name. So I request all of you, right, just spend some time, right, like, so yes, as Prabhuji said, recommended is 16 rounds, but it might not be possible to do it right away. So you can, if you're chanting one round, start chanting 2 rounds. And today, is Ekadasi. Like, it is said that some of the days are very special to the Lord, and Ekadasi are very close, special to the Lord. And on that day, like especially what the devotees do on each Ekadasi, they want to do a little bit more devotional service. They really try to disengage themselves from other material activities, and we try to engage a little bit more on the spiritual activities. Right? The devotees on every Ekadasi, they try to increase their service to the Lord. So on this Ekadasi, okay, if you are chanting 1 round, we can chant 2 rounds. If somebody chanting 2 rounds, we can elevate it to 4 rounds. If somebody chanting 4 rounds, we can 6 rounds. So we can try our best to show our sincerity to the Lord. Oh Lord, yes, I am trying, but please give us the strength, right? But yes, that's what I would humbly request all of you, that please, because this is our basic pillar, right? Basic pillar of our progress in our spirituality. Yes. 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 Yes.
Hare Krishna. So, most of you know how to impose the dates. Here you see index finger. You see
and then you have to pull it towards us.
Om Vishwadaya Krishna Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Bhagavan Pracharine
Jai Shri Krishna Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravatavrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare 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 Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Gita Sarita Before we go for Prashadam, just want to acknowledge the sponsor for this week. I'd like to invite Shankar Prabhu and Bhagavati Mataji. Today is a wedding anniversary, so they are sponsored for our Ekadashi feast. So kindly request them to come.
And also,
Can you please chant one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the guest? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Our prayers, so that we can together as a family go in Krishna consciousness. They have been following like Krishna consciousness for the past 3 years or 3+ years. Right? So I'd like to thank them for sponsoring. And today is a very special day. It's Ekadashi, right? So Ekadashi, typically we don't take grains and wheat and pulses. So dal, rice and wheat typically we avoid. And of course on the vegetable side we also avoid peas variety. So today is a very special prashadam. This has been made without all these things. Typically it takes sabudana and then like sabji, sama rice. So these are the items in this today we cook and make fruits. Okay? And there are different devotees making different types of fasting. Some fast only accepting water. Some may not even take water throughout the day. They maintain individual fasting. Like some take water, and some take like people take only milk and fruits. And it's more relaxed way is like taking sabudana. So the most important thing is not just about fasting. And while fasting is not always meditate on the prashadam, okay? Rather, okay, have things okay, which can fill up our stomach, but as Paul said, spend more time reading, chanting, hearing, and doing some form of devotional service of the Lord. So the most important thing is, Krishna says, mentally we think about him, not about the food alone. Okay, so it's not very hard and fast, but on this day we avoid these 3 items: grains, wheat, and pulses. Okay, and other than that, like we have made sufficient prashadam, we can fill up our stomach, and we can enthusiastically, with full of energy, chant and read and do. Okay? So we have just last 5 minutes concluding Kirtan, and then we go on the prashadam.
thank you very much. So, and also for all of your benefit, like some of you said that if you want to have some mid of the week program or there go Prabhu and even show on the weekdays or the stretch, to conduct this program. So would really like all of you to take the benefit, right, of this program that we are having on this. Always it's a stretch, but it will be nice if you can just join and also encourage them. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. And I would like to thank all our devotees who have been stretching so much for this program. It would not have been possible without all their selfless sacrifice. So let's thank them by loudly chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you. 5 minutes dancing kirtan, everybody can stand up.